This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy! Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Catbus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety, 4 FOR, chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
Hello there.
Hey, Catbus Russ here. Just like to immediately thank everybody I met today at C2E2 Day 1 and the New Japan Pro Wrestling Windy City Riot show. Great hanging out with you gentlemen and ladies, and I hope to impress you with this podcast. Hopefully I just don't immediately turn back to, well, his most recent episode was the C2E2 2022. What gives? But I digress. We're going to get into the program. I could talk about C2E2, probably talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I'm going to open it with a movie review of a film I watched on Netflix last night. Just, that's the one thing I do like about hotels right now is internet TV. So we'll be back in a bit.
Every day, we go about our routines. Work, home, family. Work, home, family.
Another nightmare?
Work, home, family. Work.
Sleeping okay?
I don't understand why you won't get some help.
Because they're gonna say it's in my head.
It is just in your head.
Please wake up.
I think these dreams are the future. What if something bad is coming?
You see that? You kidding? Of course I can.
What is that?
Hey, it's about 11:15 Thursday evening, and I'm at the Marriott Marquis in Chicago, out by McCormick Place, connected to the Wintrust Arena. And thanks for checking out this bonus episode of I Dig Crazy Flicks with Catbus Russ. I suppose I should still say I Dig Crazy Flicks with presents 90 for Chill, the podcast with Catbus Russ, but I digress. Let's try to get this wrapped up. So, I've been thinking about, since doing my taxes last week, I find that I'm not making enough money to start declaring everything as a tax write-off. So that basically means it might be time to cut off a few subscription services. And I was thinking, well, Paramount Plus still has the better content, and I can still catch up on stuff like After Midnight or, dare I say, I don't know why I'm daring to say anything. Just binge on ridiculousness, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think it's better than Netflix, but you can get Netflix in any nice hotel, it seems like. As I say, I watched Valhalla Rising as I was prepping for Fan Expo NOLA back in January. So, I've hooked it up. C2E2's tomorrow, and I decided to continue my A to Z, trying to fill in what would be Allie's accessory shop on Etsy's Trash Feature Review. the Etsy shop's not a thing anymore. I'm hoping she gets back to really going nuts on crafts. But, she's grown up a lot. What can I say? I freaking hate the idea of growing up personally. And I got my own drama there, but I digress. When it comes to Allie's movie selection, I suppose I can go back to and watch the little Lucha DVD she bought me. It's only an hour long. Lucha Fantasy, Atomic Blue, I think is what it's called. Which, honestly, Perfect Blue's good, so Blue works a lot. Alright. But I watched everything pretty much all the way up to M that she purchased for me. So, I'm just, again, working back from A, going to Z, and we've done, essentially, I watched, a lot of stuff, but if you go back to the B-Fest episode back in February, that featured reviews for, I was on a war kick, Arena Wars with Michael Madsen, and then Bride Wars. And Arena Wars is kind of watchable, Brides Wars is not. And then I followed up with a couple other movies, which I probably should state at some point. But the point of the matter is, I am to E right now. So, and E is for Extinction, a Netflix original. And I've really only watched one Netflix original, and that was Bong Joon-ho's Okja. And that's technically like the second Jake Gyllenhaal movie I've watched. I thought I do have source code purchased, but then I saw Far From Home, Spider-Man, and no, I'm still thinking he's not that impressive an actor. Okay, so is he more impressive than Michael Pena in a lead role? That's where we're at with Extinction. Extinction is the story of Michael Pena's character, who is having nightmares of what seems to be an alien invasion. And it's just really causing stress within his marriage to Lizzie Kaplan. And even at work, Michael Coulter is pretty much his superior, and he's even concerned. But of course, one night, after all his friends are depressed at him for ruining his wife's celebration of her new engineering accomplishment, the invasion begins, and it's now trying to escape with his two daughters, and in the meantime still trying to figure out what these beings are, and why did he predict that this might happen. So it's really tough, because for the first two acts, it's just a very intense action flick. And I wouldn't say, your first act is just like trying to build tension up with you, make you relate to Michael Pena's character. And then the second act is just intense violence. And I'm an 80s action guy. I do like a one-liner, or I do want some cool John Wick-style action. That's not the case in this one. It's pretty much gunplay, occasional fisticuffs, rocket launchers from the invaders. So you have to stick with this movie, because I really want to give away the twist. So I'm trying to figure out how to time this correctly, because this is before the edit. I'm just gonna give you 10 seconds to go and move on to I don't know, because again, it's an edit issue. So I'm gonna count down from 10, and then I'll say what's going on. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The people who inhabit Earth are synthetic AI, and the invaders are humans who fled to Mars after the revolution. So it's a really poignant movie, and it's just very difficult that you can't, I think it's probably been done better. This was 2018. There was a movie a few years ago. I think it was when I say a few years ago, I mean a couple of years ago. I think called The Creator. I'm gonna look on my phone about that. But once you find out this is really a political allegory in a sense, and if you're a Matrix fan like me, this is kind of like the sci-fi. Granted, what was the Matrix? Was the pitch? This is on Netflix. You're not going to get those kind of ads, so it's very difficult to get into this. But no, it's basically we create AI grows intelligence, and we're afraid of it, and we do what hateful white people do. Hey, I'm sorry. Yes, in Africa you have the genocides and you have slavery, but that's still a result of white people and colonialism. So, so it's great to have your lead character being a Hispanic actor and his wife being a Jewish actress, and the guy who's going to possibly save the day is a black man. So yeah, I think this really plays up well. So if you can get through, I know I may have ruined this for you, but I think it's so touching, at least once we realize what the message is, that it's rewarding. So I'm sorry to spoil everything, but I think it's at least worth a watch. It's kind of like, I think it's probably better than the movie The Colony that I reviewed a while ago, and I have not rewatched. I mean, it's cheap explosive effects, circa 2013. Not very, once you kill Lawrence Fishburne, and then Bill Paxton is a villain who doesn't really get to be Bill Paxton. It's just a well-made movie, I should say, despite the explosion issues. But this one actually has, I think, some power. So I would recommend it. And as I say, you can get Netflix in any hotel room. So until I can get Beavis and Butthead South Park specials, I think I'm going to keep Netflix. So thank you, Netflix, for Extinction.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode of I Dig Crazy Flicks presents 90 for Chill, the podcast. We're going to call it a 90 for Chill episode since I threw that Extinction review in there. So that's where we're at. I'm just settling in for hopefully a chance to just sleep in. I did not get Saturday tickets for C2E2. They were sold out because of C2E2 management. All right, so let's get in there and start off hot. So they opened the con. The first panel really was the Lord of the Rings Here and Back Again reunion with the Hobbits and John Rhys Davies, the actor who played Gimlet. I know he was definitely Treebeard, and sorry that I can't remember the other, the dwarf. Gimli, I think it is. There we go. So I'm kind of sobering up a little bit after the New Japan show, and we'll get to the story about why I kind of got drunk. But yeah, they opened the convention up with that at 11. Doors open at 10. It was all filled up by 10:20. That includes the overflow room, which is just, I think, nothing more than an excuse for them to say, well, you can still stream it. Just sign up for Pop Universe for $6. And I think that's a load of bollocks. They definitely overloaded it. Never mind to open like that. It's a Friday. And there was definitely, I don't think, enough programming for all the rooms. So, yeah, I'm a little miffed about that. Granted, I've seen The Friendship Onion. But it's one of those, I guess my big disappointment is they couldn't get, I know at least half of them are doing all days, and, Saturday or Sunday, we can't get another panel. Sean Astin. He's been in a lot of stuff. I recently saw my older sister watching Icebreaker on the Riff Tracks channel, I believe it was. Sean Astin versus Bruce Campbell. I mean, plenty of stuff to chat about. Jeesh. And then Elijah Wood, Sin City, Maniac. I mean, just so much. And never mind. I mean, okay, John Rhys Davies, he's been, I know him first from as Sala in Raiders of the Lost Ark. That is 44 years old now. So, hey, get him back for next year, I suppose. And try getting Harrison Ford. Who knows? But yeah, you just can't set people up to rush and then, because it's just not fair, I guess. And I can't really say that there was too much on the schedule that impressed me. I've done a lot of the educational panels in the past, so I think I may even be getting to the point where I'm repeating them. So I kind of thought about doing Clifford is a Kaiju, but again, I think I've done it before, and it's good that they had a great crowd at least. So I just hung around the floor from essentially 10:40 after trying to figure out is there a way to get in. And, send some nasty comments on Blue Sky about Reed Pop, the people who organize it. Hey, I would have been here all 3 days if they would have given me a panel. There is plenty of space. Okay, so, yes, I'm a little bitter, but there was a panel I did want to check out, which was about, framing shots for films. And, so that was something I was aiming for. But I finally found the Tattoo Alley. And it was a great experience. I got some ink done by Matt McKelvey out of Pittsburgh. Really soft touch with these new battery-operated guns. What I got was the the Rebellion/Resistance emblem tattooed on me based on a piece of art from the religious forums. I can't remember. It was originally created by the Kilted Heathen, good guy, which is just the top of the emblem. In the middle is just the red from the Palestinian flag, and then I have the black and green and the white in the middle. So yeah, it's basically me getting fed up with customers at my jobs talking about, hey, why are you wearing a mask? Are you allergic to Democrats? Don't be afraid to get a rile out of somebody. Well, I'm going to give it back in, this form, basically. It's on my left arm. So, hey, you like my Cubs watch? Hey, I hope you're not a genocide fan. So, but yeah, really, I think it was an hour. It was basically like may have been one of his first of the day, and then boom, it got, he was going to be lined up for the rest of the con. So I hope Matt gets a chance to just enjoy some of it. But, as a person who's done a bunch of panels now, you gotta keep moving around and do your best to enjoy it. I did talk to him about the cons that didn't have tattoo alleys, and he said some of it's health inspector and some of it's just getting contracts. So I imagine when it came to Fan Expo New Orleans, it's probably a health department thing. Indiana Comic Con, well, if they can't afford their roads, ooh, we're going roasting. Are we sure I'm totally sober yet? I don't know. No, I feel it. White Castle may have been the trick. We'll get to that, though, later. So the really only event I did, I suppose, panel-wise, was a speed friending, which was just, chance to chat with like-minded nerds. I don't think enough time to really go, since you basically get put in groups of, say, 6, and then we're all just chatting for, say, I would say we probably went through 5 cycles, so 45-minute panel. So, a bunch of blocks in between, so about 6, getting the organization by, be it your birthday, your favorite day of the week, Wednesday, AEW, but of course I just said hump day. A favorite color, and fun host, probably just definitely a, I don't really be too judgmental about her, but she was having fun, and I think we were. And I got myself into some awkward situations, which, that's just me. I think that's kind of like, I recently went on a date with a friend of my trivia team captain, and she was a good person. And I'm sure she's very, very interesting. Well, she is. I'll say that. But I think the problem was like, well, we're trying to get to know each other, and it doesn't allow me to just go and say to somebody who's cosplaying, good cosplay, woman, she, they pronouns, as early Daredevil, with the black bandana over their eyes. Good work on the facial hair. And I just said, okay, is it okay if I go and swing at people with, the blind guide sticks, just to see if they're doing Matt Murdock or Daredevil cosplay? And it got a whoa, that's kind of dark, but chuckles at least. It was funny because that first group it was. Say your name, say your pronouns, and say light or dark side. And I said light. And then I said, well, geez, I'm going to go dark with that joke. And then I had another group where it was the questions ended up being, what band would do the soundtrack to your life? And I said, well, 9 Inch Nails, because Trent Reznor doesn't really sing. I love 9 Inch Nails. So, hey, Trent, we're cool. Then somebody was just having difficulty, and one person just volunteered, all right, it's Michael Jackson. I don't know about that. And they were looking for somebody more instrumental. And they said, all right, it was a black person who said Michael Jackson. I said, all right, I had this, and I just brought up an old conversation I had with my black friends in Champaign-Urbana about, okay, you guys are cool with singing Michael Jackson. Is it because he's dead, not, despite the things he did to children? And are you going to start singing I Believe I Can Fly Again once R. Kelly passes? Champaign-Urbana answer was, oh, yes. Chicagoland? No, because we just heard about, I guess the person in the group just went off and said, oh, no, because we knew about that all the time. Limousines at malls, limousines at schools. I mean, geesh. I didn't want to go and keep the darkness going with that one by saying, well, see, at least offering candy. But, yeah, so, but that's me. And I think I thrive when I can make it a little awkward, or at least I'm more interesting, I suppose. I'm just not very good at formality, I guess. So, I think I learned something about myself, got that more narrowed down. And I'm probably undateable because of it, but at least I know how to handle the next date if it ever occurs. So that was speed friending. I ran into my big sister, the poetic critic. We're in separate hotel rooms on this trip, and her boyfriend, and they were going to check out. They skipped the Lord of the Rings thing altogether just to do a Doctor Who cosplay meetup. So, hey, they had a plan and it paid off for them. So, kudos to them. Better than me, how I ended up. Oh, of course, I got this nice tattoo. But I digress. So we stopped by to see the C2E2 talent show. And, the first act I thought it was just high school flags. No offense. Well, I guess the word can get passed along if the people say, oh yeah, we'll check your podcast out, as I was giving away buttons. yeah, all you can really do is giggle. What can I say? But then there was a comedian who I just think, like, dude, you probably had more of a set. I think so. I think nerves may have got him, but no, he had a solid routine, which is difficult when people are expecting Patton Oswalt on Friday, which I didn't see because, again, New Japan Wrestling, like, I didn't have to really leave the hotel to see it. That's kind of cool. So I'll be pushing to try getting another hotel at the Marriott, another stay at the Marriott Marquis for next C2E2, just so I can do that. Provided New Japan figures out, like, well, if we're going to do every April, let's go and do it the same week as C2E2. And we had a couple of vocalists. I kind of ducked out because, well, doors do open for the New Japan show at 5:30. And she was doing a number from Wicked, and good vocalist. I was really impressed, I think, by the woman who was doing, I think it was Phantom of the Opera, one of the Christine's Rivals songs. Quite the range on that. So I kind of suggest for my friend Allie, ex-girlfriend, friend of the show, of course, that maybe she should get prepped for that. I'd love to hear her sing. She never did that. And I know she did a bunch of musicals. And I know she was one of the... I can't remember what... I think she was the Cristal of the I might be totally wrong on that. But in Little Shop of Horrors, you get the 3 doo-wop women, I suppose, kind of acting like the muses in Hercules, the Disney movie. So, I mean, she's got range. I think she's got it. So, get her outside her comfort. She'll be checking on Ava tomorrow. So, with that said, if you're not overly impressed by the podcast, well, thanks yet again for just giving it a go and a listen to. But I do have a Patreon for it. That's patreon.com/IDigCrazyFlicks. And, what I ask for to give in return, so I ask for $3 a month. I will get you a sticker, waterproof, because I have on basically labeling everything at my jobs that I know I don't want people to mistake for just free, because I use a calculator a lot just to make sure I'm not losing track of my cash. I had a really awkward start to my full-time employment at my primary job now. So waterproof sticker, shout out on the show, as long as you're subscribed. So let me shout out my good friend Tim Bates, friend of the show. He was on the Arena episode, 1989 Charles Band produced movie about aliens, basically blood sport with aliens. And he was also on the Night of the Demons episode, fun horror comedy. And tomorrow I'm going to visit my old stomping grounds, AAW Wrestling. They're running a show. I mean, my trainer, Danny Daniels, he knows not to miss out on the synergy of following up a New Japan or AEW show. So, that's the plan right now. And, but, AEW, maybe I'll run into the Scoop Staley, the former backstage interviewer there. But yeah, they are great, giving me $3 a month, so that gets me 2 energy drinks at the very least, or I think more importantly, 3 tins of cat food apiece, so that's 6 tins of cat food for Ava the Queen Kitty. And you know what? If it's not about the podcast, you must respect the royalty. So help the show out. Patreon.com/IDigCrazyFlicks, $3 a month. Alright, there's that plug. And so, yeah, I got back to the hotel room, got changed, found all my buttons. I had like 9 available to me to start the day, but, it was kind of buried in one of my bags. But found them, more importantly. So, loaded up on those. Had to strip my shirt off, my DIY New Japan tribute shirt, to go into the NJPW show, Windy City Riot. And I mean, I didn't take, maybe it was the booze a little bit. By that point I had 2 Deep Eddy pineapples. That is, pineapple's something I think you just need to have a mixer with. I mean, pina colada's not that bad, and I don't like coconut. It's kind of like dragon fruit in a sense. Now, do I love pineapple juice straight? Oh, yeah. But, let's get off that tangent. So, I got there, line for food was ridiculous, picked up a Revolution Anti-Hero IPA, I think it is, and it was alright. Not as good as their Revolution Freedom Lemonade, but, sour versus just a regular IPA. I'm still just getting accustomed to drinking beer anyhow, so got my seat, and, as I say, maybe I was a little more worn out, or maybe it was because I had a crowd of people. This was for wrestling fans, not just the people from C2E2, and we were just BSing the entire night about that, so I took very few pictures compared to the AEW go-home shows for Dynasty that took place in Peoria a couple weeks ago. Just fun talking with those guys, arguing over should have been Hiroki Goto, or should retaining, or should it have been Shooter, Shota Umino, the Roughneck, and got to see Tanahashi's Hiroshi Tanahashi's last match in the United States against Konosuke Takeshita, and I mean, just a really strong match. I don't know if it's a 5-star, but the conclusion was just great. Basically, Takeshita just did the Kenny Omega knee him until they can't get up anymore. So, but the entire card was pretty great. I'd say if there was a weak moment, it may have been the tag match between ELP, El Fantasmo, and Rocky Romero. I wonder what happened to Ricky Reyes, the other half, the Havana Pitbulls, back in 20 years ago. So Rocky Romero, Azucar, and ELP, El Fantasmo, versus the Los Ingobernables, the LIJ, Los Ingobernables de Japón, in a tag match. Good showcase for the guys in LIJ, and it's just a weird point for NJPW, because it's just been said for a while that Naito is kind of Tetsuya Naito is kind of just kind of injury cursed, and he's going to have a career that's going to wrap up sooner than Tanahashi's is. But there was, if there is a 5-star, it would have been the Iron Man match, with a result I did not expect, for the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship, which was Tomohiro Ishii versus Gabe Kidd. I did not expect Gabe Kidd to go over, especially once they do, we're going to sudden death overtime. But, 2 falls, that's what I kind of like in Iron Man. Brett, Sean, that's how you do it. My opinion. But I digress. So, as it came down to merch, let's just break it down for, I guess, C2E2 and New Japan Windy City Riot. I ended up finding a copy of Gravitation, the complete collection, on Blu-ray at a shop. I think I found Lupin the Third last year. The first movie, Castle Cagliosa. Hopefully I pronounced that as close as I can. Which, hey, anime is coming up next month, so if you want to chat about movies, anime movies, Japanese animation, I'd love to hear from you. And anyhow, I'd love to hear from you if you want to be on my podcast to talk about movies. As long as the movies get bonkers, I'll definitely talk about them. But, if they're not bonkers, hey, as long as they fit between 70 and 100 minutes, I'll talk about those too. So that's, crazy will go no time limits. Melodrama, let's keep it between 70 and 100. And you can be a guest on the show by contacting me on my social medias at CatBusRuss. That's primarily on Blue Sky. I do have Instagram and Threads. I don't like Meta, so not on there as much. Instagram, you'll get everything, and that's hooked up to my Threads, so there you go. So that's cool. Gravitation is a television and OVA series about a kid who moves to Tokyo. I think it's been 18 years since I saw this on the old anime network on demand on Xfinity. I think it was Comcast even at that time. In when I was living in East Peoria, and I guess you could say Morton as well. But kid moves to Tokyo to get into music, I think it was. Runs into this one guy, immediately insults him, and he's obsessed with getting satisfaction from this cruel person. Well, it turns out that no, this guy actually was crushing on you, and it's a discovery about our main character's homosexuality. So, really, I was just intrigued by it, and it's good to find it finally. At that booth, there was also some of the weirdest hentai DVDs and Blu-rays. Hentai, Japanese animated porn. You can check my search history. Yeah, I might take a look every now and then. Basically, these are like I'm used to hentai, having, acting like it's a real show, legitimate. Dare I say 70s style. Like Black Bible, I think, was a hentai. The first tape I ever bought of hentai was called Ray Ray, and it's 2 little narrative episodes. But no, this is like Anime Sluts Unleashed, and like, whoa, what the heck? Like, when did we go and just turn into, lovers' playground shop? Just doesn't, and like, okay, then are we just doing scenes, or where's the, almost just to see what it's like. I thought about buying a disc, but I got my last Lovers Playground disc to complete, so that was then I'm wandering around, and there quite a few wrestlers who didn't have formal autograph booths. They just got themselves merch tables, dare I say. I think a lot of it was Headlock Press. They do comic books about professional wrestlers. They had Jerry the King Lawler, which, I don't really want to talk too much about because of him, his history. Like, I'm a still push for Marty Scurll. Nobody deserves his death sentence, especially after the precedent set by Jerry Lawler when it came to being charged with statutory rape of a 15-year-old, maybe a 14-year-old at the time, and then basically getting out of it by talking the DA and that you really don't have enough evidence. Never mind, this girl slept with a black person. So yeah, Jerry Lawler was a piece of garbage at some point. Hopefully he's changed, but that is far worse than anything that Marty Scurll has been accused of. There was Jake Roberts, and he's an old man now. Life was tough for him on the road, so I didn't really, I didn't want to go and look over his table just because I didn't want to, imply that, hey, I'm going to get something like $60 autograph off the top. Not ridiculous, but somebody who had great prices. And there was also Rikishi and Matt Hardy. I saw Matt Hardy. I think Jeff may have been around as well. But I got to meet Joe Hendry. Say his name and he'll appear. I do believe in Joe Hendry. And I got the autograph and selfie combo. Very cool guy. Nearly left the picture, the picture he autographs. But, very, as I say, you can't really ask. I wish I could have chatted with him a little more, but again, I'm a shy guy. And when it comes to celebrities, I really don't want to press upon them. I think I think it was, I did have an interesting conversation with Lance Archer, I think it was 2 C2E2s ago. And, but that was more or less like his handler handling my payment and what have you. I thought about going to the pro wrestling tees, and then it's just kind of weird because I think Cabana noticed me, and I've known Cabana for 20 years, but it's just weird, like Danhausen, when I got his autograph and selfie, he was somebody who wasn't on the scene when I was on the scene. So yeah, new face. Same thing with Joe Hendry. When it comes to Colt, it's like, dude, we've been on the road, across the same paths and everything. So it's a little awkward. I really should just try to talk to Colt because, Colt got me into podcasting, simply put. So, I think it doesn't hurt to ask if, hey, give me an hour sometime. Just, do I have to watch Over the Top again? I suppose I'll do it, but that's what I'm getting at. So I got to be more social still. It's not like, it was great at Indiana Comic Con having Gregory Carl around because, he's a guy who wants, he wants to interact. Like, see, or he's definitely more outgoing than I am. And, of course, Fan Expo New Orleans with TJ and Brian from the NOLA Film Scene podcast. I think they finally got a new episode up, so give them a listen to. Very cool guys, but I can't say Brian was overly social, but Brian Plato, very sociable person. I didn't really get enough time to spend with TJ, I suppose, so I hope to do Fan Expo New Orleans next January, so that's something to look forward to. And it'd be good to do it again with those guys since we didn't have an audience because of Back to the Future, which I guess kind of brings me to Sunday for C2E2. I will be there, and I plan to check out the Channel Awesome Movies We Disagree On panel, which is running against the Starship Troopers reunion. But hey, after being killed by a reunion, the Back to the Future guys and NOLA, I'm gonna side with the Channel Awesome guys, which means it's gonna cost me more money because I need to meet Michael Ironside. So gotta find something for him to autograph. I suppose I could just get a picture, but if I could find a Dark Side pop, that'd be cool. So okay, autograph from Joe Hendry and a selfie and Gravitation. So I think I got off pretty easy. It's about $100, a little over $100 when you add tax. And the tattoo cost me. I gave him $215. $200 for the ink, $15 for the tip. So who knows? Might run him into a Fan Expo. Might go and get myself a Ukrainian Rebel logo on there. Always thinking about the dead elephant, but basically a dead Republican logo. But that might be a little too. Oh, now you're just trying to piss me off. Well, you guys wear shirts that say I voted for Donald Trump because it pisses off the people I want to piss off. Up yours, dude. So this is C2E2 merchandise. When it came to New Japan, I quickly hit the table right after the Iron Man match. And then grabbed the Mighty Don't Kneel soccer kit. Nice orange shirt. And then they had Daryl cats. Daryl is a cat associated with Hiromu Tanahashi, a junior heavyweight from the LIJ faction, and he just holds him, like, makes him a character, an official member of LIJ. So, it costs about what I'd expect it to cost if I was to just take that Amazon dive and order it from Japan. So, I think I kind of went out there. Yeah, and I guess the rest of the night concluded when I, looking for something to eat. I don't think there was anything open at the Marriott, or never mind, everybody's down in the lobby chilling out after the wrestling, after the con. So I just made a trek to just down Cermak and hit the White Castle. And, I got to chat wrestling with a bunch of guys there. And what the best thing about wrestling fans I found is, like, it just comes up in conversation that, hey, yeah, I'm an underemployed professional wrestler. And like, oh, well, how do I get in? Who would I go to? Well, I say you'd go to the Black and Brave in Davenport. Because Danny's not training right now, as far as I know. Hopefully I'll run into Danny tomorrow. Yeah, they had, I guess, wrestling fans respect the perspective of performers. And, it was very cool just chatting with them, like, in the line for White Castle. I think it was a couple guys talking about, a woman who's thinking about getting into the business, and like, oh, you can't screw up that finisher like that. Oh, you need to watch Mischief and Sarah Dillon Ray matches. And then I'm talking about my love for AEW over WWE. I don't have the time for WWE. You can make the time. I gotta watch movies. I gotta work 50 hours. Like, I got the podcast. Like, that's 3 WWE shows I can't watch. Not that I care to. And we had a good conversation in line about, like, the best wrestlers are AEW. And the answer to that was a resounding yes. And I said, I don't know if anybody in AEW, any of the WWE stars could go to AEW. Like, and they brought up DIY, the Motor City Machine Guns, Gunther, Walter, as far as I'm concerned. And like, well, I'm just telling them that they're not positioned as stars. I mean, we got the guy who just got over the word yeet going into the main event. Well, he won't get a main event. Screw CM Punk because of that. He's probably going to win the world title from Walter. And it was basically just, they have great talent, but they won't make them stars in WWE. And that's the good thing about AEW. And then you have somebody, well, you go to AEW when your career's on the downturn. No, you go to AEW when you want to be showcased. Your talents to be showcased. So, fun arguments there. Fun discussions, I should say. Not really arguments. And that was just it. It was a great social experience for me today at C2E2. Matt McKelvey out of... hope I said that right. Checking again. Matt McKelvey out of Pittsburgh. Got to chat about the Penguins. I brought up, being at Indiana Comic-Con, like the only celebrity panel I got to see was Sean Gunn, and he was like, oh yeah, and we got into a Gilmore Girls conversation. More of an adjacent on my behalf, but you can't hate that show, so. But yeah, just, this is kind of, that's what I really, because honestly, I would say, just going to cons, not maybe something I don't really care too much about anymore. Going to cons as just a regular guy, I suppose, a fan. Like, I am always gonna, I took the time to get that LLC for I Did Crazy Flicks. I'm gonna try to find a con every month to attend and do my panel. 90 for Chill, I Did Crazy Flicks presents 90 for Chill. And, hopefully Fan Expo, me and the Big Sis can come up with, maybe offer more panel suggestions. As long as we put the I Did Crazy Flicks banner on it, I suppose. I think everything's going to be good, cool. Or at least it makes it look like a brand. So, but, you meet the right people, though, at a con, and it makes it all worthwhile. And, it was great having... respectful wrestling fans. Can't say I get that in Peoria. To talk to in, White Castle and the Wintrust Arena. And the Speed Friending. As I say, I got to be me, and I think that's kind of just where I feel comfortable. Who knows? By that point, I got the tattoo been done, and I drank the Revolution Freedom Lemonade, and then I got myself a cocktail, vodka cran with Tito's. So maybe I was a little tipsy because of the loss of blood. I mean, it's only 5%, and Lord knows I'm not going to put too much booze in a Comic-Con cocktail, but, I at least was able to cut loose. So it was a fun day, and, I don't know. I've kind of ran Reed Pop over the coals during this pod for their organization, so I might be shooting myself in the foot for being a panelist next year. But, I think I can help them out. So I'd love the opportunity to do so. And, given it, I won't be as big a twat as I am right now. So thanks for checking out this bonus episode of I Did Crazy Flicks Presents 90 for Chill, the podcast. If you want to be on the show, as I say, follow me on my social medias at CatBusRust, Blue Sky primarily, or send an email to rustthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. Just offer me a theme, a director, an actor, a movie. If it's crazy, I don't care about how long it goes. But, if it's kind of down to earth, 70 to 100 minutes. But we'll get some fried podcast gold out of it. And, of course, rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast apps, 5 stars preferably. I will learn from your comments, so be as honest with that as you can be. Again, patreon.com/IDidCrazyFlicks, $3 a month, sticker and shout outs. Just think about Ava the Queen Kitty. And, all I really have left to do is thank my best friend, Stacia Marie Harden. She's doing a great job keeping me out of too much trouble. At least, if I find some good trouble, hey, got my tattoo. I feel pretty good, and I hope she's doing the same for everybody else she touched in her life. And I hope she's squeezing a little ectoplasm out of the fluffiest of kitties, Skimble, the one-eared angel. So, thanks for checking out I Did Crazy Flicks, and I will get you a recap of Sunday, if not, and hopefully just a recap in general. Maybe the Poetic Critic can help me out and fill me in on Saturday. So thanks again, and have yourselves a great day, evening. Do I do the entire Truman bit if I don't see you again? Nah. I will just leave it with David Tennant signing us off. Thanks.
Can I hear a wahoo?